Now we are going on to our next topic on the panel. We will have panel which is called the power of artificial intelligence. Please come on the stage Mr. Dalibor Marjanovic, Mr. Matija Srbić, Tanja Maždarević, Karlo Knežević. Can we get applause, please? And our moderator will be Mr. Gregor Cuzak. You can give them another applause, please. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Gregor Cuzak. I'm coming from Vesna Venture Capital. I'm really happy to be here at the conference of my new partners in Vesna Venture Capital. Dalibor, thank you for trusting me to bringing me on board. Of course, also Srđa, Carlo, organizing this conference. When I heard that you are organizing this, I was very happy to have the opportunity also to participate. There is a connection with Dr. Primorac. So I visited him in the beginning, in the first year of COVID crisis. We were discussing the use of stem cells to alleviate the problem with the lungs. And I'm happy to say that we were together with Edusel at that time, saving a doctor. It was a physician about 55 years who was basically dead on the bed. And it was the last resort. So it was I think on a Friday evening that we were solving all the legal papers. And of course, with your help, we could convince the medical agency, we could convince everybody in Croatia that what we are trying to save the doctor with, so the stem cells, is safe. That's the first rule of medicine. So thank you that we were in the same story. Also, there was a scientific article published in the medical journal of Croatia in May in 2021. So the story that you were telling, I'm really amazed again after visiting you at that time in Sveta Katarina. But in Zagorje, that was the other place, right? Yeah, okay, thank you very much. So I have two other roles, which I think put me in relevant shoes. One is that I'm a patient advocate. So I'm a Secretary General of the Umbrella Patient Association in Slovenia, dedicated to patients. So the topic is very dear to me. And the other role is National Institute of Chemistry. A few of our guests here from Slovenia are coming from, I'm from Ljubljana. But as you see, Vesna Venture Capital is a venture that we are building together, Slovenia and Croatia. So a lot of the stories that you were telling about Slovenia apply to Croatia, apply to Slovenia, but we serve as partners. So our approach, I guess, the Slovenian character is a little bit different, but they go together. They can't do without each other, right? So thank you very much for the trust that you have. So without further ado, I will first ask my panelists to present themselves. And I will start with Carlo here, and then we will go down the panel.
Hi, people. Do you hear me? I'm Karlo Knežević, the AI team lead in SofaScore. SofaScore is a Croatian company making sports platform for our users around the globe. Somehow we are connected with the previous speaker because Luka Modric was the man who supports us, and also he was our partner last year. Yeah, I think I have quite to say on this topic, but we'll continue with introduction.
I think it's a very, very hype topic, I would say. And I'm really interested in where we will see the limits of the topic, because basically I think the human mind is one of the things that goes faster than speed of light, because you can encompass everything, and then you reinvent the whole thing. So the goal today is, of course, to discuss artificial intelligence, but not just from the perspective of hype, but also, to harness it. So where are the limits? How do you control it? Where are the breaks? I would not like to enter the stage of fear, where somebody said to me recently, that they're actually afraid of artificial intelligence. So the stance here is, it's something useful. We have to be aware where the limits are. Dalibor, the word is yours.
Thank you. I'm actually a proud user of SofaScore. My wife thinks that maybe I'm on betting something, but no, I'm just curious how things are in real life. So great application. I just want to say that thank you for Dragan. He's actually my mentor who sent me back to United States in 1999, helped me to actually live there for 3.5 years. And that's why I actually feel like most of you here experience this life in the United States, understanding that things can be different and you can do, there is really no limits. Help me actually future down the road to do the work. And most of my time I actually spent in developing innovation ecosystem by leading the BICRA agency. And after that, I was back in the private sector leading two big corporates, but I never actually forgot about the innovation, because innovation is opportunity to give new chances to the people that have good ideas, so that we can actually create something better for us to use. And artificial intelligence is something that definitely comes in our way, and I agree with Gregor. We need to talk about this. We need to demystify it. We need to understand the limits. It does not going to solve everything. It does not, replace the humans, but it will enrich our lives. It depends how we actually set it up in our lives, like what we see in it, and there is a really lot of opportunities, to actually to help us as a humans to understand and develop some new products or services.
All right. Now the lady on the panel.
Thank you very much. Pleasure to be here. Thank you, Professor, for inspiring keynote speech. My name is Tanja Mađarević. I'm representing a company, Virgin Pulse, here today. I'm the Director of Engineering in Virgin Pulse, which is the #1 well-being and health software as a service platform in the world. And we've been using AI constantly in the previous years and still kind of using it at Virgin Pulse today. I'm sure we'll speak more about it in the coming minutes. But I also want to say that I just recently started a school of coding for kids and teenagers in my hometown in Tuzla, Bosnia-Herzegovina. And we are also exploring how to kind of capture AI curriculum and teach kids to use, explore, learn more about AI, and of course, use it ethically and reasonably. So thanks.
Oh, that's an interesting topic, ethics in AI. I'd like to discuss on that later on. So, Matija, you're the last to present yourself.
Yeah, hello everybody. My name is Matija Srbić. I'm coming from Innovation Center Nikola Tesla, which is actually founded by Faculty of Electrical Engineering and Computing, or shortly FAIR. My role is that I'm a program coordinator at a program called Nucleus. This is actually a startup incubator or accelerator where we are working with researchers and scientists who would like to try to found their own startups, make spin-offs, and they would like to validate the business potential of their innovations. So we are working a lot with deep tech startups, and I'm not an AI expert, but I'm working with a lot of researchers who are applying AI in different fields from different sectors. We are also having one project called Synergy, where we are connecting our researchers with industry and helping them to do together R&D projects.
Thank you very much. I will now take you to page 17 of Frank Herbert's book, Dune. I'm sure many of you know the movie. If you haven't read the book, I highly recommend it. And on page 17, there is a quote that I will read, and please, my colleagues will comment. It's not that everybody has to comment, but I will invite you to do the comment. So the quote is like this. It was written in 1965. So once men turned their thinking over to machines in the hope that this would set them free, but that only permitted other men with machines to enslave them. Please comment.
Maybe I can try. Yeah, I don't think we are in much better state now. It's when you talk about distant future, then of course you can take different scenarios. But AI, or maybe if it be more specific, language large models that we are using as AI, is not something that came over the night. It's something that's been actually working for the last 30 years. And now it's probably the hype is because people can see benefits easily or be amazed with them. But there is still a lot to deal with it in it. And I would also go step back with the social media. I think we have not, in terms of the ethics, in terms of the accepting, we still coping with it. So now we still have not finished this cycle with the social media. Now a new thing is coming out, and actually that brings the fear. So I don't think AI can rule the world. I mean, at this moment, at this level of development, definitely we need to talk about this. We need to see what are the ends. But I think it can help us a lot in terms of the developments, in terms of what we do, what Professor has said. There are so many data out there. This is something that the human minds cannot do anything with it. And what is actually good about the AI, they gives you some paths, avenues. It does not, it does not mean it's a right path for us or for the development, but you can easily, get many scenarios that you can test it. Eventually, at this moment, the AI state is still in a human's hand. Is still actually, you need to be driver behind the seat, which I like. But basically, you have a really great help or assistance to narrow down the options and actually to kind of design where you want to go. This is how I see it.
Okay, interest to comment more. Please, Carlo, your turn.
Firstly, I believe that at the beginning of this panel, it would be clever to define what artificial intelligence is.
Please do that.
Well, I can't. There is no definition of artificial intelligence. Do you know why? Because we don't know, we can't formally define what intelligence is. So speaking on artificial intelligence, we mostly compare tools to our human intelligence, but there is no formal definition on that term. Also, it's very important to say that artificial intelligence is just one big ocean of several different research areas. So, for example, natural language processing, you mentioned the LLMs, is just one tiny area. For example, computer vision, then you have the robotics, the expert systems, etc. So also, people often think that the term artificial intelligence is something new. No, that term was invented in 1956 in the UK. So generally, AI isn't something new, and it's becoming hype because some tools like LLMs became closer to population, and people think that that's something new, that's something huge. So we've been living with AI for a long period of time. So that's the first thing I want to say. So now about this quote. I would like to refer to the EU AI Act. So 2 weeks ago, the EU Parliament voted, and you know that AI Act is now live. Still, the corrigendum process is ahead of us, so we'll need to wait several months to get the final text of that act. Why that act? Technology is not evil. People are evil. So people always think that, I don't know, the artificial intelligence is going, I don't know, to kill us, to replace us, to do something with our lives. No, artificial intelligence without, let's say, evil person behind of it cannot do anything wrong with us, but it can just be a very powerful tool to make our lives easier and to make us more productive in our work. But it's very important that the person behind of the AI is the person with, let's say, clear agenda without any wrong intentions.
So I will ask you a question which you shouldn't answer, so please don't answer. Carlo, are you ever evil yourself? So you're not answering this question. We will touch on the fear, on the ethics, a little bit of porn later on, because somebody told me a little bit about how AI can tackle porn. It's a problem in one of these businesses, I will not tell who. But we will go to a sort of intermezzo. I would like to invite Nicolina Lautz for a short 5-minute presentation of glycan age. If I may, is that okay? Okay, excellent. Wherever you choose. So you're welcome to present.
Do I get slides?
I don't know.
I
That's
hope
on
so.
the organizers, I was just told that I have to invite these 3 people on, so you're the first. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hi, everyone. It's a pleasure to be here. So I am Nicolina, co-founder and CEO of GlycanAge. And we're a biotech company that specializes in molecular diagnostics. And we have one mission, which is to make preventive healthcare possible within your lifetime. Now, I also need a clicker.
There's one on the table.
There's one on the table? Okay, good. Thank you. And as we all know, healthcare today is not healthcare, it's sick care. You have symptoms, you go to your physician, then you're diagnosed with a disease, and we keep you on a treatment for the rest of your life. But on a molecular level, we know that these changes leading to disease can start decades before we currently detect them, and decades before symptoms. We just didn't have the biomarkers to detect them so early. But these biomarkers have been part of our biology from inception. And they're called glycans. Glycans are the most complex molecules we have in biology that integrate our genetic information, our epigenetics, our environment, and put them into functional molecules that are known to change up to 10 years before you develop some of the most common diseases. And they're also the future of personalized and preventive healthcare. And although you don't know glycans by name, they're not very popularized, not as genes, you do know them by process. So your blood group is defined by glycans and blood cells. Cancer would disguise itself with healthy-looking glycans to evade the immune system. Conception happens through glycans. A foreign entity puts on this very friendly glycans to evade the woman's immune system. And majority of the communication and function in our immune system is mediated through glycans. And it was decades ago, 3 decades ago, that my father started studying glycans when he joined the lab at age 20, where he met my mother, and they published the first paper on glycans and aging in the brain. And this is also the year I was born, and I say, this happened for glycans, same as it did for all of us. And my father is my co-founder. So we founded this as a commercial entity about 4 years ago. But our mission is to put his 32 years of science into practice and bring it to the individual. And I say individual because at this point, you're not yet a patient. And to date, we've looked at more human glycomes than the rest of the world combined. So you have this paper in Chemical Reviews that looked at, out of 191,000 glycomes, our lab in Croatia, Ganos, generated almost 160,000 of these. And this is samples from some of the leading institutions globally, like Harvard, Yale, Hopkins, sending their precious samples to us here in Croatia because they don't have the capability of doing this type of analysis themselves. And we are the only place in the world that does high-throughput glycomics today at this scale. Thank you. This is, of course, for this man. It's not for me. Your friend. Yes, and so this led to over 300 peer-reviewed papers. They're all supported by grant funding, about 40 million in grant funding over 16 years of research, that show that glycans change up to 10 years with some of the most common conditions, like CVD, diabetes, many inflammatory conditions like rheumatoid, Parkinson's, and so on. And majority of what kills us today has a common mechanism, and that's chronic inflammation, which is the consequence of our aging immune system, then leading to this low-grade sterile inflammation that goes to cardiometabolic disease, or not destroying a threat that was very good at destroying when it was younger, like cancer, autoimmunity, and so forth. But luckily, glycans change early, so we have time to detect and prevent. And the first step in preventive healthcare is, well, in prevention, is measuring our biological age. So we have two ages. One is your passport age. There's nothing you can do about it. You can lie about it, but it won't change. Then there's your biological age, which is more related to your health and your health outcomes. And you can have many biological ages. In this case, we're looking at your immune system and how old is your immune system. And this led to our first commercial product, which is the glycan age test. And it's a test that gives you your biological age by looking at this inflammation process or your aging immune system. It's a 10-year-old biomarker, so it was first published 2013, and it's one of the pioneering molecular aging clocks at the moment. And it's used by tens of thousands of users globally, including celebrities like Halle Berry, that we did not pay for this endorsement. So she liked the product and her experience, and it was valuable for her future health actions. We also have 1,000 clinical partners globally. We provide the service across 60 markets to date, and they're all private clinics, some public. There's a clinic in Singapore which is a public hospital that are implementing this into their practice to track the success of their interventions in improving your long-term health outcomes. And we are still just scratching the surface of the potential of glycans. Last year, we published a review where just from what we look at in the aging clock, so this is glycans on your adaptive immune system, so on antibodies, we identified that they change in specific ways in 72 different diseases, where we have the potential to predict them, detect them, and prognose progression. All of this from one type of test. And I've only highlighted a few here, where you have the accuracy of the biomarker, so sensitivity, specificity, which is the AUC, and then you have the years to prediction, and it's from 6 years in advance of hypertension up to 9 years with rheumatoid, with some of the most perfect AUC, which all of these are great candidates to be regulated clinical diagnostics, and this is just a few of them. And our future lies in regulation. So aging is not a disease. We cannot regulate an aging clock. But with these disease-specific markers, we can go for different stages of regulation. First one are these laboratory-developed tests, which still are on the private healthcare market, so you pay for this out of pocket, but it is a sizable market. And then our ultimate goal is having FDA, MHRA approval, where we also get access to reimbursement. So this is available for every single individual within the healthcare system. And I will just give you a US example. So 1 out of 3 people in the US have hypertension, and less than half of these are diagnosed and treated. So if we had an FDA-approved test to predict and detect hypertension in just the at-risk group, this would give us 40 billion in revenue per year. And we estimate that the investment for that will be 100 billion for an FDA trial. And I will show you a few industry examples. So starting with ours, next stage is LDT. So GRAIL is a blood test, multi-cancer detection, not yet FDA approved, but they have LDT status. And with 50 million in revenue, their current evaluation is 7.4 billion. And then you have Dexcom, which is a single indication medical advice, FDA approved. Last year revenue was almost 3 billion. And they're only partially reimbursed by insurance. So I invite you to invest in the future of healthcare as it should be, personalized and preventative. We raised a seed a few months ago, so we're not fundraising now, but I can meet you and then we can talk in a year's time. Thank you for your time.
So Nicolina, did you apply to the Vesna fund already? You did?
I didn't know if you had questions. I filled your form. I filled your form, so you have it for a year's time. When we do, you have all our information, and we can update it in a year.
Yeah, please do that, everybody else as well. So we're very interested in listening to your pitches. Let us continue. So who in this panel is very hype about AI? I know it's a tough question. You're not Americans, right? But sorry? No, not hyped, not hyped. But Matti, I will ask you about how do you see a lot of companies, correct, in Nucleus and the other, the project. So how do you approach the question of AI in your companies?
Well, I agree with everybody what was telling about the AI. I see it also as another tool currently. And I would say that now we're in a phase where we were like when the internet was starting, and also it was firstly hyped, and after some years it became something what everybody is using for their daily job or for having fun and similar. So I see that now we're in that phase where it's all like a shiny and new, and we see remarkable things that they can do, but eventually it will just, I think, become another tool that we are using to be more productive, to do better our stuff, to do new things. I mean, never say never, and we don't know how it will end up in, I don't know, 10 years, 20 years, 50 years, whatever. But for now, I see, at least with startups that I'm working with, that they are not using AI because it's hyped and because everybody needs to have AI like they needed to have everything was on the blockchain just a few years ago, or everything was in the cloud a few years before that, and we know what happened with the dot-com bubble and similar things. So I see for those startups that I'm working with that using AI actually makes sense, and they are doing the actual AI. So basically training it years and years in their research on a lot of data, and now they are in a eventually they become ready to apply it on things that they want to apply it. So for example, we have one great team from the Faculty of Veterinary Medicine when they're helping doctors or pathologists to find the potential cells that are becoming, that they could be cancerous. So basically optimizing the process, not replacing the doctor and somebody who will say in the end, is there a cancer or no, but they kind of reduce the time that one person needs to invest to find something on the scan. Or we have team that is like using AI to analyze any type of the material for from the drugs, from the I don't know, something that you can use to build houses. So their algorithm can tell you what that material is and what is the combination of different particles in that and what is their number. So basically they are, again, giving you more information and somebody who is analyzing different materials, and they are doing it faster and better. Or the guys who are working on the application of AI in reducing the costs for your energy bills in your house or in your company. So they can tell you by just through one measuring point what in your house is using how much energy and how you can optimize it. So eventually everything what they do makes sense, and it's not something hey, currently is a hype, is a buzzword, and we need to have an AI. I think that eventually most of the startups or the companies will use AI in some form because it will help them to do something better and faster.
All right, thank you very much. But a quick question, how many of the startups that you're working with are in the hype, not bubble, but in the pragmatic use of AI?
As I said, I don't see that any of them are in the hype, that they are using it because they see it's a hype. But I would say that like 30% of the startup that we are working with is applying.
30%.
Yeah,
So currently 30%.
Yeah,
Can I
around.
have a raise of hands on who thinks that you are using on purpose AI in your, I don't know, business or your daily use of the computers? Raise of hands. So it's about a half, roughly half, right? Okay. So would that be ChatGPT? Any other systems that you're using, guys? Yes, also. Some other tools that are not large language models. Are you using some image AI stuff? Yeah, some nodding. Okay. I will go to another type of AI, which also is AI. And Carlo here will tell us about the use of AI to detect, let's call it malicious content. I used to call it in a different name, but we agreed that I will not use the word anymore. I think you know which word I was referring to. But what do you do with your, describe the AI that you're using?
Yeah, so SofaScore is not AI first company. We use AI in 3 ways. The 2 ways are in the same feature. So SofaScore has SofaScore Chat. That's a place where our users can communicate to each other, communicate by writing text messages, but also they can send images. There is a proverb that the way to the hell is covered by good intentions. Unfortunately, pretty soon when we pushed out that feature of communication of our users, we saw that our users don't text about sports and don't exchange images from the stadiums and sports events, but they exchange messages that we don't want to have on our product. So the company had to decide what do we want to do with those messages. So we had 2 options. The first one was to buy some product. But that was not the option, because when you're a company and you're scaling up, you need to control your costs. So the other option was to try to do something in the house. So the first problem was detecting the sentiment of the text. The sentiment detection is still an open issue in computer science. And it's not so simple to say if some text is good one with good message or with the bad message. So that's the first thing when we started to use AI in our company. So we have our own solution for detecting messages we want to have on our platform and those we don't want to have. Also, the pictures. So when we speak about pictures, there are a lot of types of images we don't want to have on our platform. The sexual images, of course, are among of them, but also there is a lot of advertising images. We also don't want to be platform where the other competitors can advertise themselves. So the image classification is also not simple issue. You need to have a lot of samples to learn your classifier to classify images you want to show or you want to have among you don't want to have. So that's another way of using AI in our company. The third way is the personalization. We cover a lot of sports around the globe, and we think on user experience, and we want we want that when our users opens the app to have on its palm the content personalized for him or for her. So also I'd like to say that for example our founders they believe that we have a lot of issues in company and the AI is always solution for those issues. AI is not solution for everything. Also, people today think that AI will solve everything. No, that's not the case. You need to be very careful when to use AI and when don't, because even if you are using AI but in wrong way, your costs can raise tremendously.
Okay, it's time for another intermezzo. We have Tihana Petricevic, Silver Technologies, presenting to us in the next 5 minutes. Tihana, welcome.
Thank you very much. Okay, let's try to click. Okay, so my name is Tihana Petricevic. I am CEO and founder of Silver Technologies. And what we do is we provide professional and affordable senior healthcare and safety monitoring. We've created a product, Silver Monitor, for which we believe will have a significant impact in senior care and preventive medicine. So I would like to briefly share with you our entrepreneurial journey. When I started doing this, it was nothing so spectacular. I wasn't trying to save the world or anything like that. The story was very simple. So I have a senior family member who lives home alone, has serious heart condition, and I was looking for a way to help my family. And while I was trying to find a solution, I started digging, researching, collecting data. And after a certain period of time, I came to my team and I said, listen guys, I think that I'm onto something. And something that can be potentially big, and it's not just something nice to have. It can be something that can really, really solve problems. So what have we discovered in our R&D project? So there is evidently population is getting older. There are a lot of people who live home alone, who have serious medical conditions, who have nobody to turn to, and have difficulty accessing medical care. And why do they mostly go to the doctors? They go to the doctors because they have either some kind of cardiovascular disease, hypertension issues, or some kind of fallen injury. And when they come to the doctors, in hospitals, in ambulance, there are long waiting lists, long waiting lines, and hold that process for an old sick person can be very traumatic and additionally stressful. So I was like talking to my team and I said, I think I have an idea, what can we do? I'm in wearable tech now for 10 plus years, so what if we create a smartwatch for seniors who will monitor specific data which is relevant for this specific age group. And we will also create an application which will enable a family member or a healthcare professional to see remotely what's happening with this particular person anytime, anywhere in the world. So we started working, and this is what we made. So our smartwatch is very easy to use, simplified, exactly designed for seniors. It has 7 features, so blood pressure monitoring, heart rate, activity, blood saturation, temperature, fall detection, and even has integrated SOS alarm and GPS positioning. It's certified and ready to use. We've tested this device. We've done pilot testing in 5 Croatian cities. Last pilot on 50 people, overall 100 people tested. We have very good results from the field, both from healthcare professionals and seniors as well. We've created a web application which also has 7 features which monitor blood pressure, heart rate, activity. It also has, a dashboard which has a map on it, which enables you to position a person if alarm is activated or person has gone lost or something like that. Completely displays alarms if someone has fallen or has some kind of other issue. It's very easy to navigate this application. It's very easy to use for an average Joe, but yet it's very, very, very informative, even for professionals, because on a graphs. You can correlate the data, analyze the data, see which kind of therapy they are using, how are they responding to a specific pharmacotherapy. So I think we have something significant here. And now we have finished our first phase of product development, which I can only describe as blood, sweat, and tears. And now we're ready for round 2, and that is AI enhancement of our product, which includes our main focus is on 2 specific areas. So it's fall prediction and analysis of specific anomalies in body vital chains in heart and healthcare data changes. So, and we are not going on this journey alone. We are partnering with research institutions here in Croatia through various projects like AI for Health, Crobo Hub, and Synergy, hopefully, I'm counting on you. These are great projects, especially for small companies which are limited with resources and, of course, resources in staff, scientific staff. And as I said, these are our focuses, and we, after we build these models, I think we can provide that additional boost, that additional added value to a product, which will set us apart and put our solution on a global map. So our main goal here is, of course, saving lives and reducing costs. I would also like to share with you a little bit of our achievements. So far we had multiple international awards for innovation and entrepreneurship. This company is bootstrapped, so I built this from ground zero with our own capital. And I'm not like part of any political party. I have relatives, but they are all in wrong places. I'm not silver spoon or anything, so I bootstrapped a hardware startup from ground zero in Croatia. If you want to know how to do that, find me there in buy the coffee or something. So, okay, I think that would be it, and thank you very much, and do stay in touch. Any questions?
No, I just wanted to say Godspeed. I mean, it's wonderful what you're doing. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
All right. So, we're talking about some of the limitations. One of the limitations popped up was fear. Is AI and later on the supposedly, coming AGI going to master us? Is that a real fear that we should be addressing? The author of book Dune that I referenced earlier proposed a solution to the thinking machines. And the solution is to actually abolish them and to request that these machines are it's called the Butlerian Jihad. And it's actually a downfall of a civilization in a way, in terms of deciding that they will not allow these types of machines. I think we all remember that there are civilizations that went down, and there is one civilization that didn't go down in the last 3,000 years that I'm aware of, just one. So, of course, not talking about the Roman Empire, I'm not talking about some of the kingdoms in ancient medieval Europe. I'm talking about the Zhou dynasty in about 500 years before Christ. And the person who was capable of arresting the decline, he arrested it for about 200 years, so eventually they did decline, was a guy called Confucius. And he discovered actually the true levers of a civilization are not technological, they are social. And the biggest problem we are facing is transfer of knowledge. It's actually a lot of times we create knowledge that we then forget. There are cases all the time, we create fantastic knowledge and the knowledge is lost. So my fear actually with artificial intelligence is that we will succumb to the idea that somebody else is thinking. And when we do that, this refers back to the quote that we have, then we should fear because of ourselves, because we became lazy. Now, my challenge to Tanya is to tell us about her fears with artificial intelligence. Thank you, Tanya. Sorry for putting you on the wall here, but look.
Yeah, I can see that you keep coming back
I
to
do.
this fear. Yeah, I mean, I believe that AI brings us immense possibilities. We are not even aware now what they are. I mean, look at what happened in the last year and a half with like ChatGPT appearing in public use. I mean, it completely transformed our way of thinking and basically looking ahead in the future. I think there are two ways. I mean, that we can, if we want to look at the future, in my opinion, one is quite dark. My fears come from capitalism and big tech companies taking over power, basically, and controlling, and it happened before. I can quote Professor Scott Galloway. He calls them. He's from NY University, New York State University, I think. He calls the big tech companies the forerunners of the apocalypse. You must have heard about it. So if I go that way, the future does not look too bright to me. I'm just afraid of what big tech can do and is doing, even now probably. But on the other hand, if we look at possibilities that are available to basically everyone to use AI, not just to be hyped about it, for whatever purpose. I mean, for research, for business, for learning. I think, and I hope that we will not become lazy and just use AI and kind of like think that AI is going to do everything for us, but actually use it to progress as a civilization. I hope this answers your question.
It's a beautiful answer. Thank you very much. No, I really like it. So, Mattia, what is your view of the ethics of AI? I will imply to the current copyright infringement lawsuit that New York Times and certain other publishers have launched against OpenAI. And it's about the use of copyrighted works to train the models. This goes further. Should we give electronic health records to AI? Should we give the information to the models so that they learn on us? What are the dangers that we see? So not just fear, ethics, copyright, I don't know. What do you think?
Well, there was recently that video of, for one tool that's generating videos, and the founder of that tool was asked what data was used to train the tool, and they confirmed that they used everything publicly available. So basically the copyrighted things and the things that they did pay for and they didn't pay for. So yeah, that's definitely the question as we are going forward. And I see there's at least on the EU level, there's a lot of initiatives about different policies and how we're gonna control it and regulate it. And we know that EU is pretty good in this stuff, sometimes even too good. So I think that we'll be fine eventually with everything else. We are now in that time, we are still trying to see what are the limitations, and then there are things that are happening that are kind of in that gray area that maybe shouldn't happen, even in a black area where they definitely shouldn't happen. But I think that eventually with like all other technologies, we will come in that phase where we think that mostly it will be used for good things and it will help us, but in the end there's a person behind it who is kind of seeing what they can do with it and testing it, and some people will use it for bad stuff, non-ethical stuff, and stuff that will be forbidden or that will be even against the law. But I hope that we as a humanity still have that in us, that we want to make the better future for ourselves and use the technology for good stuff. At least the most people in the world. So at least maybe I am a bit naive, but I don't see that there's a the point of no return, that we cannot come back and build better things with the technology that we are having and use it only for the bad stuff.
All right, some questions from the audience, perhaps. Comments? I think it's just Slovenians usually that don't want to raise questions. So are Croats any different? No? Okay, then we shall continue. Marian. When evaluating companies, and I'm not talking about Vesna, now that we're doing this together, right? So companies come, pitch, we discuss, we ask them questions. It's really rapid fire. And so the decisions have to be taken really fast. What type of judgment goes into there? Does AI change this anyhow? Is the process any different today from what you used to do 10 years ago?
No, short answer. Basically, like I said in the beginning, the AI is just a technology. I'm really agnostic to this, so it could be biotech, it could be computer, cloud computing. So to me, this is not the driver of innovation. The driver of innovations are people behind this. So how do they see the product? How do they see the uncertainty? Because they don't know all the answers, and they don't have to be all time the right. So how do they react to the questions that nobody knows the answers? So that's something that we rely upon in this early stage, because we don't know the future, but we can foresee the people look at the product, or how they actually describe what the product is going to be like, and how they react to the risks of the product. So in essence, our people are behind, and of course the market is also something that needs to be listened. Sometimes people are ahead of the market, and market is not ready for them. Sometimes their innovation is more like in technological way, but they forget that we as a society have all these rules that we have come up with, and they feel like, if there is no rules, my product will be, I see it, technologically it works, but that's not the case, especially, from the healthcare, there are so many protections because of where we are now. This is our civilization accomplishment. Some of them needs to be challenged, I agree, and some of them needs to be changed, but that's the process. So in a sense, people that they understand the product, not just technologically, but also how they're going to implement the environment they're going to take it. I think that's important in evolution.
Thank you very much. So just to give you a little bit notice on the time, I was asked to take this to 1:15. So if you need to go, please feel free to leave, not a problem. But 1:15 we finish. So with that, Christian Merkel, I wonder actually, whether this is the third health tech startup. Christian, please tell us.
We set the tone in the beginning.
I mean, it plays on my tune and Dr. Primoraz's tune for sure, But this is a general audience AI discussion today, so thank you very much.
So hello everyone, my name is Christian, I work at Srce, and I would just like to briefly introduce you to what Srce does and how HPC services could help your businesses. So just a brief introduction to what SRCE does. SRCE is basically a central institution in Croatia, primarily supporting the academic and scientific communities, and by actually improving and developing infrastructure and digital services. And some of you may already know, some of the main services include things like computing, networking, digital archives, data management, storage, while also supporting openness in science and education. Brief introduction to what is HPC. So imagine if you had a really complex problem, math problem, that would take your regular computer a month to solve. Well, with HPC, that kind of problem can actually be solved in just a fraction of time. And the way these supercomputers do it is basically they divide the problem into the simpler sub-problems, and they tackle on each of these problems individually, and at the same time at thousands and thousands of CPU processors or GPUs. Regarding the HPC resources that SRCE provides, we have a newly formed supercomputer, which is actually the first petascale supercomputer in Croatia. Also our cloud solution Vrancic. Both of them are actually located here in Zagreb at campus Borongaj, and they both provide more than a couple of thousand CPU cores and several dozen GPUs, and also for the users coming in from the industry. For our commercial users, we also have a dedicated resource that also provides the CPU parts of computing and GPU parts of computing. Also, regarding to that, we also have a team of experts at SRCE that can help you get around in the HPC world, either by providing things like individualized workshops or via just the regular support via the communication. So here are some most common showcases of HPC usage. On the left you can see computational chemistry, which is very popular in pharmaceutical industry because it in a way streamlines the research processes by reducing the number of experiments that have to be performed in the labs. So reduces the time spent in labs. Also, something that's very popular is computational fluid dynamics, very popular in industries such as automotive industries regarding aerodynamics and mechanical engineering. Also, something that's very relevant today, and in the former discussions, the deep learning and AI and machine learning projects like large language models, because they tackle with huge sets of data, and these types of calculations are actually very well done on HPC systems. Just a quick introduction to some of the fundamental services that SRCE provides inside the ED Krobaha++ platform. They are actually free and are all related to HPC. First of which is the education in high performance computing, and the first event will be actually held here in Zagreb in 19th of April, and you can scan the QR code if you wish to apply for this workshop. Basically, the users will learn some fundamentals on working on supercomputers, working on a Linux environment, and submitting some typical HPC jobs. Also, we can grant you access to a network of experts, either from industry or from scientific background, from scientific institutions. And if you are a more demanding user, we can also support you to access larger HPC resources in Europe. For example, in the top 10 ranked supercomputers in Europe, we can help you access Lumi in Finland and Leonardo and both of these are, for example, ranked top 10 supercomputers in the world. Also, if you're interested in CPU computing, we can also grant you access to the CPU compute nodes, and with more than 2,000 CPU cores at our own infrastructure, and help you with tailored consultations regarding that. And if you are more interested in GPU computing, for example, if you are doing machine learning and AI, we can also grant you access to our own infrastructures, GPU nodes and GPUs. Also, would like to point out that later today you will hear more about the other services provided inside the RoboHub++ platform from our other partners. So that would be it from me. Thanks.
Christian, thank you very much. Now we shall go towards the end, and I will do a test on my panelists. I will test whether you were on autopilot or whether you really listened. And the question is the following. In one sentence, what did you learn from today's panel? Mattia, you start.
That we will adapt.
Thank you very much. Next panelist.
And also fear.
What about fear? That was too easy. But give me a little bit of what did you told us about fear?
Be careful about our future.
You learned that today? All right. You didn't. That was cheating. Dalibor.
There is always room for new things.
Cool. Nice. Carlo?
There is no reason for fear, and there is no artificial general intelligence in near future. The last disruptive scientific paper has been published in 2017. So everything you see up until now, there is no need for fear and no need to be feared of AGI.
You play into my cards because my final quote from Dune on page 370 is the following. Fear is the mind killer. Fear is the little death that brings total obliteration. I will face my fear. I will permit it to pass over me and through me. And when it has gone past me, I will turn to see the fear's path. Where the fear has gone, there will be nothing. Only I will remain. That's the message. So, dear panelists, thank you for being a great, great team. And thank you, dear audience. And next time, I will plant somebody to give me a question, because that's a method too. Thank you very much.